the Mr. Sinsky Senior today. It was quite a pleasure.
Oh, you got to meet Elwood. He's awesome. He's really good.
He is adorable.
Yeah, he's a really smart guy. Actually, most of the stuff that Gary will or will not do always has to do with his father. His
Mm-hmm.
father generally is very, very smart. The stuff that I've had the pleasure of talking with him, like for extended periods of time when we're in close-ins that were going too long, and a very insightful person.
Mm-hmm.
As
He
weird
had
as
a few
Gary is,
suggestions,
yes, as weird as Gary is, his father has been around the block for sure.
Well, Gary, has on this black muscle shirt,
Yeah,
and black like motorcycle boots and
yeah.
jeans. And I said, well, this is a different look. Who goes, yeah, when the sun comes out, the muscles.
The guns come out.
Yes.
The sun's out,
And
the
I went,
guns out.
what?
He's crazy.
Yeah,
He
but
says
he
the
liked
craziest
what he
stuff.
saw. And we actually
Good.
had gotten to a pretty good point. Not everything, but pretty much
Mhm.
on schedule.
It's good. I'm glad that Elwood came out because he doesn't come out that often, but when he does, it gives him an opportunity to personalize you guys versus like Gary telling him.
Absolutely.
The relationship between him and Gary's like, as much as Gary's his right-hand man, Gary's not him, right? Gary
Yeah.
is a little bit of a goofball. He likes to gamble. He smokes. And his dad doesn't smoke, doesn't gamble. His dad is like, built $40 million in worth through just grinding it out, buying rentals, building. He's been in the industry forever. He's the CEO of a bank for a while and, like the chairman of a bank on the board. He's just done a lot of really cool stuff in his life. He's been in the business 50 years. And, just really kind of a killer the whole time. And Gary, I think he doesn't trust his judgment a little bit. You can always tell. But if the dad likes it, because Gary's kind of like, he gets paid the points at settlement. So that's why he'll always be at settlement getting a check. Probably knows that when he settled, he's there and he's like, where's my check? That's kind of how he gets paid. And the dad gets the 10%.
Mm-hmm.
This little like, is he underwriting just so you can get the 2 points, and the deal don't make sense? So his dad has got the best record of any hard money lender ever, and is a very smart guy. And me and him really had an awesome talk about that. And I was really just impressed because I'd never heard anyone ever tell me that. And I believed him, right? I don't think he's lying about it. Some people tell me some stuff like that, and I'm like, I think they're probably lying, but I don't know. They're a little picky. And Gary's very like, Gary looks at your credit. He literally was telling me one time, this guy who's a big flipper was like, he's like, yeah, I just checked his thing and he's got a lien. Maryland Live put a lien against him. So like he took a line of credit at the casino and didn't pay it back. And he's like, yeah, cut him off because he's smart. He knows like when you start doing stuff like that, that's like a sign. So he's very smart about attention. They're very aware. Like, I don't know. I like the way they roll. I definitely take notes from them. If I was ever a hard money lender.
See what's on my front? See what's on my desk? Look at this.
There you go.
Look at
Awesome.
this. It's so funny as we're walking through, because I just called Josh at Lumber Liquidators and said we're getting ready to. It's going to be the last thing. No contractors allowed in that house before we put the flooring in. And every time we walk through, and is that a navy blue wall? Wow, that's a neat color. Mike's color. Yeah, we're following Mike to down to the T. We just, everything he's telling us to do, we're following it by the book to make him feel as though, we listen. You tell us something, we listen. I told him I am dedicating myself to winning your trust. I'm getting a sense of how you roll. And, I don't blame you. And he said, I don't always believe what I say. I can be kind of tough. And I said, that's fine.
He does say dumb shit and not mean
I don't
it.
mind that.
I've definitely heard that from him where he'll say one thing and he'll be like 2 weeks later, like he never said it. But he he has Tourette's, I think. He says some of the dumbest shit. My partner used to hate him.
Oh, I don't hate him. But this outfit he had.
No, my partner hated him.
Hey, can you send Mike that picture? We got a picture of me in between Gary and Elwood today.
Oh, nice.
Oh yeah, I figured, hey, it might be, just to. His dad is very serious, but he's, 90, 92, something like that.
High 80s, yeah. He's in his high 80s, I think.
And it was so cute. He had to go down the steps behind Gary with his hands on his shoulders so he wouldn't fall.
Mm-hmm.
But what a adorable, sweet man. Very, very. He says, "Oh, you padded out this utility room. I would paint the floor gray. None of those speckled things like Gary likes. Just solid gray." It's
He's
like
usually right.
Gary.
The dad's usually right.
Yeah, well, hey, yeah. Why deal with all that other stuff? Just slap on the paint and let's get going.
Yeah, true.
Very practical.
His dad, I'm happy to hear he's back out. He had a little fall about 9 months ago, and he didn't look good. When I seen him, he looked like, people when they're that old, they have like a fall. They look rough, and they look like they're heading down that tube to die. And he looked like, I thought he might be like passing, and and now he's back. That's good.
Oh yeah, he got around fine.
Yeah, he's probably recovered well. But when people have big events like that when they're older, you always worry. I remember hard money lender Ray's like, what's going on? My hard money lender's father is like 90, and he's been in the real estate for 50 years.
I met him
like
today.
50 some years in his 20s. Yeah. He's worth $40 million, and he built it all through rentals. He used to do where he made a lot of his money is he would do big, developments. So he did that. He was the CEO of a bank for a while. He's hard money lent for about 14 years now. Gary hates the rentals, but they've done a lot over the years, right? But they flipped houses. They've done a lot of flips, but just a little bit of everything. Build wealth.
Custom building. He did custom builds.
Yeah. Yep. Oh, anyhow, they're smart with money. General Jewish way, Baltimore Jewish way. They're very smart.
Yeah, I'm a shiksa.
Yes. Oh, really?
I'm a shiksa. Yeah, that's what they call a non-Jewish woman. I didn't say that to him, but
so you go to church with them.
Well, the Jewish people are certain. I love how they really are committed and bound to their community. And
yeah,
my senior living community was right in the heart of Baltimore, and lots of wealthy Jewish people. And it's a different world to them, their world, and but I guess they feel they can really trust, their own.
Well, they do. It's Jay, who's another lender. I haven't referred you to him yet. Probably might never need to, but he's actually really big on that. He's made a lot of bad loans I've helped him get out of. And when I look at him, I'm like, Jay, what's the deal, man? You've been doing this a while. Like, what made you make that loan? He's like, Michael, sometimes life's it's more than the numbers. And I'm like, well, you're a hard money lender, so not really. But he's like, and then come to find out as I dug a little deeper, it's a Jewish guy. I come there and I told him he needed some help and, wanted to do this. And Jay overlooked like all of his normal underwriting criteria because the guy was Jewish. Now, Jay's done that about 10 times in his life, and it's cost him about $600,000-$700,000 over those 10 times. So I'm hoping he's not doing that anymore, but who knows? Because he just gets into some stuff. And then he's weird with me. Like he'll have a problem with that, and then he'll put a rule in that I need to pay him more money. And I'm like, Jay, I've done 400 deals with you and never had a late payment. And why would you charge me for what some dude did to you in Florida? That a deal that was nothing like they don't.
Doesn't work that way.
So yeah, I've actually stopped giving him loans lately because of it. And I've been giving all my loans to Gary because he tried to charge me more. He charged me 11.5. He's like, yeah, I got to give you 12% now. I'm like, hey, just let me ask you. I'm like, that's kind of an odd thing to do. He's like, yeah, don't take it personal. And I'm like, I'm not taking it personal, but I mean, I've done 400 loans with you. I've never not paid on time. All my deals have settled. Generally, people get cheaper over time, not more expensive. He's like, yeah, I've been holding it off for you. I'm like, what do you mean you've been holding it off for me? Interest rates have been going down. He's like, no, they're going up. They're, they're not making a lot of, I'm like, look, Jay. So I'm like, so now I'm drying him out, seeing how he likes it. Now he's calling me like, hey, I'm still lending, right? Sure, I do. Why don't you go ahead and lend to some of those really bad deals for a while, see how that feels for a year or two, and then we'll talk at a lower rate because you made me do that to you. And he's a friend, so I don't like to do that to him. But he gave me no choice because even though we're friends, he treated me like a sucker where he's like, I'm just going to charge you more. And I'm like, Jay, you're not being very aware of what's going on out in the world right now. There's people lining up to lend at 10 and 2 and 9 and 1 and all that, 9 and 2. For someone like me, that's an easy rate to get. So even Micah was telling me Lending Home's offering him 9 and 1, which is and that's fine. It's 20% down, or I think they said 85% down now. Hey, what are they doing with you? What is the final? Where did it end up landing your deals with them now? Because I know they've been they jumped around a little bit.
I think 1 and 9, I think.
Yeah, that's where they are with him too, which I think might just be their lower rate or something.
Yeah, they did 1 and 9. They actually went a lot more ironically, where before it was they were underwriting you on the volume of deals you had done before, so your history and your track record.
Mhm.
And now, ironically, one of their primary underwriting criteria is actually the borrower's credit score.
Oh, smart.
Now I think they want like a minimum like 760 credit score. So they sent an email out.
760 you said, or 700?
I think 760. I'll find
It
the
has to be 7. They can't do 760. Who has 760? I don't have 760.
Hang it up.
I don't know.
Yeah, 760 is almost like crazy, but yeah, I don't know. I'll have to
It
check
was
and
over
see.
700. I know that much because I said,
Yeah.
"How are you guys keeping any borrowers?" And he said, "I don't know what even prompted that decision from them, kind of at the higher level." But he said for some reason, I guess their investors have more comfort with borrowers with higher credit scores.
Makes sense. I mean, borrowers with higher credit scores are a no-brainer, you know?
So I don't
If you're
know.
over 700, you're going to pay your debt usually. I mean, that's kind of the reality of it. It's not about deals, it's about the people you're lending to. And the people you're lending to, if they've got over 700 credit, then they've shown a history of figuring it out and paying their bills and prioritizing their bills essentially over everything else. Some people dude, if you told them, I've actually advised some people who've gotten out of line, like, hey, you should just short sale that because it's going to take you 15 years to get back where you need to be. You short sale it, your credit will be right in 3 years. And you'll $400,000 difference to your net worth, by the way, if you do that. And people are like, I can't do that. I don't care how awesome of a deal it is. I'm just like not built that way. I'm like, I hear you. I'm kind of the same way. I get it. Some people, are really passionate about paying their bills. That's ultimately who you want to lend to, though, because that person will do everything to pay back. And then there's people that are a little more loose about paying things back, and not so important to them. So Ray, do you have some people that didn't want to answer your ads that you put out?
Yeah, I was just only like 3 or 4 people answered. I was going through it.
Okay.
There's a bunch of people that, not a bunch, I think 3 that didn't respond to the application, but sent me like a Craigslist email. So it came into the email inbox.
Mm-hmm.
So I got a couple that came in that way, but I had 9 people respond. A few more today. They're all kind of putting in responses for like general stuff. I had one guy email that said he's drywall. Noel Castillo sent me an email.
Sweet. He sounds like a drywaller. Let's do it. Well, he definitely just got the first start. Racial profiling. He's Spanish. He's already winning.
Work, hang and finish.
It's not American. I don't know, man. I hate to be like anti-American, but when it comes to contractors, it's kind of rough.
Yeah, so usually
we're representing right now as Americans. We've gotten lazy with too much gaming and too much esports. I don't think anybody wants to hang sheetrock anymore.
No, usually he says usually charge per sheet or square foot if I'm supplying material. We already have all the material there.
Cool. So can you share your screen and then just let's take a look, or send me your.
So he was the one that just emailed. Ironically, we had 9 people reply to the ad, and then we had 4 people just email me directly.
Okay.
And like, here's a list of what we do. If you want to take a look at my work, I have videos, whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, if I'm okay looking, I always start with the apps first, and then I'll go to the emails if necessary. But in the email, if I was looking at just an email back, I would be looking for a guy saying I do it per sheet.
Okay.
Like, he sounds like a good fit, right? He's Spanish. He does per sheet. That sounds like somebody we want to just have a quick conversation with.
Okay. It still has me blocked from sharing screen.
Oh, sorry. That's me. It's on my side. Let me fix that. And what we can do, actually, I got my phone. Is there a way to call Noel, or do you not have his info? Did he give you his number?
He sent a phone number.
Cool.
So let me share.
And let's look through the applications first, because that is the order of how we do it. Uh-oh.
Is it working?
Yep.
So we got 9 new ones overnight, and this was the first guy, RLJ Mechanical. He kind of filled out that he does everything, even though it said just for drywall.
Yeah.
He's not working on any projects, 1 to 5 years, 2 to 5 guys, has standard pricing but hasn't worked with investors. So probably pretty low. Would you agree as far as priority?
Yeah. Yep. I'm probably not calling him unless I get desperate. Nothing I've seen. So for everyone looking, I mean, here's some of the things I mostly are important, right? I'm looking, have you worked with investors? Is one of the most important questions because we don't have time to take someone who's done retail and then trying to convince them of like how to work at a non-retail price. In order to make it in a non-retail game, like a subcontractor game, you have to have pricing that makes sense or people just aren't going to give you any work. Retail, you know, it's hit or miss. You might get people to pay anything, right? There's no real standardization to it, but there's a lot of standardization to non-retail, more like, you know, subcontractor. So we see that he is basically like, he doesn't specialize in anything. What I asked Ray to do is try to find someone who specialized in sheetrock, like a legit sheetrock guy who could knock out this stuff and get it done quickly. He's like, I can do everything. The issue with someone who can do everything is they're generally not great at anything. And not saying they probably have a couple things they're good at, but when they do everything, they're almost often they're just bringing people in, they're middlemaning it, kind of like they're almost like a GC essentially. So, not saying I wouldn't call him, but what we're trying to focus on right now as we go through these is we're looking through all our responses and we're trying to figure out who to call first. Like, who do we think is going to be the best opportunity? We're going to use some racial profiling, some answer profiling, whatever. He's done checked. He does like 90 different things. That's exactly not what we asked for in the application. So I've got his name and number and all that. That's all good. So we come to this guy, number, what it says, company name, our colors run deep, painting, awesome. So this is like a painter contractor. Do you have insurance? Yes. You know, no projects currently, fine. Not worried too much about that. 5 to 10 years is fine. 2 to 5 guys is fine.
2 to 5 guys is a lot of guys to have on crew for having no work.
Yeah, exactly. You need some work. So that actually makes sense. So I like that he says, yes, I've worked with standardized pricing. Have you previously worked with investors? No. If so, please explain. If no, please explain, and they never do. So it's please explain. I haven't worked with investors before. Please leave this field blank. Oh, okay. Got it.
I think only one of the guys, like I said, it was really more of the guys just emailed me directly. This guy was painting. So he put sheetrock and painting and waterproof on there.
Uh-huh.
He said, no, 1 to 2 projects. And he was, yeah, I've done many full drywall patch and paint jobs for different investors. And then he lists a couple of the local property companies.
So that actually that is one of the ones I'm most excited about, believe it or not, because he's worked with other investors, which suggests that like he understands, that gives us a clue that he understands the standardized pricing.
Yeah.
What we're hoping to do is find someone in between jobs that's worked for someone else like us. And maybe they're just in between flips. This is the reason we like to create deal flow so that our guys don't end up on Craigslist when in between us having deals and then finding someone else to work for. So this guy is someone I would call, but let's see what else is at the end of it right there.
Yeah. 6 more. John, he just kept putting C resume, but he filled out for everything.
Yep.
So no projects, less than a year, just me. So he probably might be a little tough.
Well, there you go. Super simple. We're not going to hire this guy to do 70 sheets of sheetrock by himself. Even if he's like, oh, I can get people. Like, you need 2 or 3 people to do sheetrock. You're not trying to do that by yourself.
This guy checked off everything, so he was the same.
More of a GC, same thing. Now, I wouldn't mind the GC guy if down the bottom he's like, I work with investors. But let's go all the way through. He's done a lot. Just me. All sounds good. Yes.
So this was the GC. We're used to working on strict schedules with set pricing. Capable of completing work on time and thoroughly.
I mean, honestly, I'd want to talk to him.
Okay.
I mean, that's a good response. I mean, that's like the response we're looking for. So, we'd have to talk to him. And
this guy, he kind of checked off everything. And he just put, I work with house flippers.
I mean, that's what you want to hear. Right? I mean, we don't need somebody who can write a book. We're not looking for, some super smart guy. We're just looking for somebody who can do sheetrock and do paint. So the pricing, well, but I work with flippers is solid. I mean, that's really all we want to know.
Okay. This guy was just sheetrock and paint. This guy, he seems, I guess, like new to the area. he hasn't worked with investors.
Okay.
And then there's two more.
He may has never worked with. He maybe he's never worked with anyone.
Here's Angel Santiago. He's general, clean out, landscape. 1 to 2 projects, 1 to 5. Find out most of the Spanish guys have like 5+ guys. Like they're like counting like cousins and uncles, and
Yeah.
like
I
it's
know a lot
almost
of people.
asking like how many family members live in the United States with you.
Yeah. Yeah, because that's your potential workload. Your work.
Yeah.
That's your workers.
So
So I
he
mean,
said
this
upgrade.
sounds like he works more with a landlord, though. I like the ones that are like house flippers. I might talk to this guy. He's on my second tier, though. The first
Okay.
people I'm calling are the ones that like I can get a job done thoroughly. I work with house flippers, because that for me is like the most important question of all these is like whether they've actually worked with someone like us.
Okay.
Because
And
it does take a certain person to work for us. So
this guy's no with investors and no previous work for
all
investors.
right. So keep going. Is that it?
That was the last one. There was, I think, 2 out of this, and then 2 of the people that email me sounded like they might be good fits.
So let's start with the 2 out of this. Go back to the one we want to use here, and let's start calling some people.
I think this was the first guy. Yeah, he just put I work with house flippers.
Okay. And what's his name?
David Marin.
856418. That's for sheetrock.
Yeah, and paint. But I put ads out for both.
You've reached the DNC. Please leave your name and number, and somebody will get back to you as soon as possible. Thank you.
Hey, David, it's Mike Green. You filled out an application doing sheetrock for my company, my partner and I put out. Please give me a call when you get a chance at 443-858-3317. I had a few questions. Wanted to talk to you a little bit about a job we have going on and just see what, kind of get to know you a little bit because since we're just meeting. We do have a lot of repeat business, so we'd love to see if it'd be a good fit for you. It looks like you do a couple different things. Call me as soon as possible. We're actually looking to get someone on this pretty quickly. Again, my number is 443-858-3317, and it's Michael Green. Thank you. All right, give me the next guy.
This was the GC, but he said at the bottom, we're used to working on a strict schedule.
Yeah. Okay, let's talk to him.
So, and as we're calling these 2, Mike, just as a heads up, I know we talked Monday on the call. I actually do have one of the crews starting there first thing tomorrow at 7. So I did actually find one of the crews that we've worked with before because the other guy couldn't give me a schedule on his calendar.
Mm-hmm.
What you told me, you're like, call your guys you've worked with before, see if anybody can do it. So as a heads up, I do have another basement coming up and a couple houses to be.
Yeah, it don't matter.
So
I'm not asking them to come tomorrow, but I got it.
Please leave your message for.
Hello. Leave a message.
Hey, Bill, this is Mike Green. You left an application for doing sheetrock and some different things. It says that you've worked with like set pricing and it sounds like you worked with investors before. I got a lot of flips that we do every year here in the area. Give me a call back when you get a chance. My name's Michael Green and my number is 443-858-3317. Have a good day. Thanks, man. All right, let's go. Who's the next guy? There was another one too, right? There was one before this that looked pretty good.
I think no, there was one more guy. I think, yeah. I think it was this guy. Yeah, I've done many full drywall patch for different investors.
This guy sounds pretty decent. Let's
Pat,
call him. 8563. 30845. I'm more out to call back the Spanish guys who don't fill the application out because they might not be capable. Yeah.
Hey, Pat, leave me a message, a name, number, and the time you called, and I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. Thanks. Have a good day.
At the tone, please record your message. When you've finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Patrick, it's Michael Green. You filled out an application for doing some sheetrock and some different work. I have a house flipping business locally, and we got a lot of repeat business. Love to talk to you about some of your pricing and, you know, different things so we can see if you're a good fit for some work we got coming up. My number is 443-858-3317. Again, this is Michael Green. My number is 443-858-3317. Thanks, man. See ya. All right, give me the Spanish guy.
Angel, the one that filled out the application.
Yeah.
Or the email.
So I'm not so worried about if a Spanish guy doesn't fill the application out because they're not always tech savvy enough to do so, and they, you know, sometimes it's overwhelming to them. So, but the American people have no excuse.
Here's Angel.
Angel.
Your call has been forwarded to an automatic voice message system. 85679406668 is not available. At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Hey, Angel, it's Michael Green. You filled out an application, or actually you just responded to my Craigslist ad about doing some sheetrock and painting and some different stuff. Give me a call back when you get a chance at 443-858-3317. I'd like to talk to you about some of your pricing, and I have some jobs coming up in the near future. You know, maybe see if they're a good fit for you. Again, it's Michael Green. My number is 443-858-3317. Thanks, man. So second thing I would do, and probably not going to do it now, but I would actually, to everyone we called, we should be texting. Matter of fact, let's do it because there ain't no reason not to. I got all their numbers here. Let me, I'm going to just call 1, 2, 3, 4 people.
Mm-hmm.
Sound right? Okay. I'm going to send them all quick texts. I think I'm going to send it to them. Let's see. All right. 858. Can we see if we can figure out who these people are? 794. Okay. This is Angel. So let me just say.
Angel. Yeah, I'll get them for you.
Angel. I'm gonna just send them all text. This is actually kind of the best thing to do because people don't really voicemails and shit. It ain't uncommon for I haven't listened to my voicemail in like 3 weeks. So yeah, if you expect any kind of response from my voicemail, then you're probably not. I would imagine that's true for a lot of people.
I agree with that.
So what I'm going to do, so everybody knows, I'm just going to write a quick letter saying, "Hey, Angel, you responded to my ad on Craigslist," and I'm going to copy and paste it once I'm done. So before I send this, I'm going to go ahead and copy this whole thing so I can just change the name and send it to all 5 people. Sorry, that was Angel.
What's the next number? Is there a 3616?
Let me see real quick. There's a, 3616.
His name's David.
David. So now I'm just pasting it in and changing it from Angel to David. The reason I'm doing this is about the most efficient way you can text 5 people really quickly. And let's see what the next one is.
6793.
6793.
Bill.
So, Bill. Okay, perfect. So I'm just basically copy and pasting it. Bill. Good. Now Bill gets his text message, and I get the last one.
845.
Who's that?
Patrick.
So I'm pretty efficient. I mean, I know like nobody answered. That happens sometimes. But I will be getting phone calls. I can promise you that. I mean, we'll find out. I'm pretty sure I will be getting phone calls. So you also only had that running. You didn't have it running too long. But all right, let's see if anyone calls me back or texts me back anytime soon. Because now they all got a text and a voicemail. Always better to text. Like the text is, I mean, I would even say, I always call in case they'll answer because I prefer to talk to them. But if they don't answer, just make sure you text right behind that. Okay. That's a vital piece of this because look, not all my guys are going to answer the phone. They're going to be like, you know, oh man, what do you do? You know, nice to hear from you. We're not going to be high level communicators on the phone. My best guys, I can't even understand on the phone. So knowing that, I'm not saying don't call them if you can't understand and just talk to them as best you can. And then maybe go ahead and text them. Right. It's that simple. I mean, you just want to get in touch with them. And then see who's who. And I'd like to, hopefully we'll get a chance to do that. So let's see if anybody else has questions between now and then, because I don't know when anyone's going to call us back.
Quick question on
Sure.
the list that Hannah's that were listed on Saturday.
Yeah.
Do you actually pay yourself a commission out of your flips, or no? Do you just?
There's no purpose to.
Okay.
Number one reason, I don't know if a broker is 100%, but there's just no reason to pay yourself.
Okay. Yeah, that guy, he's just a flat fee, the broker that he charges.
Yeah, I mean, so it's up to you if you want to do that, but it's kind of whatever, you know. You'd have to have a reason for it.
Okay.
It's not uncommon that a husband and wife team is like, oh, the wife gets to keep that money or something, and you know that's not uncommon. Whenever you guys work out, but if there's not a logical reason to do it, then you know, then why, right? Like create a reason to make it more complex, I guess. I don't think there's a reason. I don't know. It's up to you guys. There'd have to be a purpose, right?
Hannah wants money for Target.
Oh, just give her money for Target. Just take his card, Hannah. What do you mean? Just take the card.
I can't. I got to keep it in the business.
Okay, you might need to get a commission then, Hannah. It sounds like he's being resistant to your value. All right, but don't hold her back from Target, dude. Come on. What are we doing this for if she can't go to Target?
It's just safety.
Yes.
Safety during this virus.
Yeah, exactly. Safety, her bank account doesn't end up empty. I don't go to Target anymore for that reason. That and BJ's, I mean, Costco. I should cut Costco out. I go there to get like a couple things, and it's $260.
Yeah,
Never seen anything like it. You know, like, oh, I get a couple taquitos, and now I got taquitos until 2023. Solid, like feeding the dog taquitos because I can't get rid of them. Like, what's going on? Like, we have butter in the freezer that I bought 6 months ago, and I'm like, you know, it's because I had to buy 38 sticks of butter. You couldn't just buy 2 or 3. Like, we're good, man. When the COVID thing happened, we were fine. We were like, oh, we're good to go for a while. Anyhow. All right, cool. So what else can I help with until hopefully? So we were actually talking a lot about contractors today and trying to get good people in. I know Nancy and Jim are looking for just general carpenter guy. If you get an ad out, I can help you guys with that in general. So because you can find that person pretty easily. Anytime you need people, we start with the funnel, and then from the funnel, we just start working it like you just seen. Ray put that ad out yesterday. That's, you know, it's a little response. And if he keeps running that for the rest of the week, he will have a lot of people to talk to. And that didn't take us very much time, you know, 10 minutes, 15 minutes. But if we actually would have talked to them, that could have been 45 minutes or so. So it's not really a big deal. The key is that you want to look at this like you're going to well, okay, you'll get better results the more people you interview. I think Nikki told me this once before. She felt like she was kind of the first person she liked, she just kind of went with. And then she kind of closed off to other people because she's like, oh, that's my person. And, you know, and she maybe was doing that after a couple people or maybe 4 or 5 people. But if you can hold back and just, resist that temptation to do that and talk to 20 people, I promise you'll have a different, the person you liked, you might think they didn't even make the cut anymore, right? They're not even close to good enough. So it's important. Oh, hold on. I got someone calling back. Let's see. Hold on, everyone. Michael Green.
Hello?
Hey, it's Michael Green.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, man.
Yeah, I got your text message.
Oh, okay. Who's this? I just texted us to two people.
I'm Angel.
Oh, hey, Angel. What's up, man? You responded to my ad to do some sheetrock or painting. Does that sound familiar on Craigslist?
Yeah.
Awesome, man. It said something about you do stuff like by the sheet. You work with who you normally work with?
I usually work at the beach, like in Ocean City, New Jersey.
Okay.
Oh, maybe
Cool.
not.
Now, do you work with like I mean, who are your who's your current customers? Are they like I mean, like house flippers, investors, or?
We do residential and commercial, so
Oh, okay.
yeah. I mean, a lot of them are just private factories, stuff like that. Like some local shops in town, stuff like that.
Okay. Have you ever worked with an investor, like a house flipper or anyone?
An industrial account?
Yeah, investor does like flip houses or.
Yeah, I've done new construction, only painting.
Oh, cool. Oh, only painting, you said. Now, sheetrock, is that something you're pretty proficient at, or is that like your specialty, or what do you feel like you do best?
Painting, definitely. We painted
Okay.
interior, exterior, and industrial. We
Oh,
painted
cool.
shipping containers. We painted a little clinic plaza, all like aluminum siding.
Good.
We
Okay.
stained, we stained exteriors. We painted. We use lacquer, oil, water-based, latex, acrylic, basically whatever.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what I normally have is houses that are, anywhere from like 1,200 to like 2,500 foot, but they're flipped. So they're all empty. They're easy to paint. We're usually doing one color on the wall. Guys are always spraying, and then they generally just, they spray and then back roll behind it and they're done. Usually 3 guys, 4 days, they usually have it done. Does that sound about right for like how long it'll probably take you?
All of that?
I have so my houses, usually my crews that paint for us now, they're usually about 3 people, and it'll take them about 4 days to do a house, usually somewhere between 3 to 5 days depending on the house size for just like a normal flip. Most of our houses are just like the normal house. There's nothing special.
Yeah. Okay. So yeah, basically my crews they range around the same, depending on size of the house. Like something like 1,500 square foot, they can definitely bang out in 3 days.
Cool.
Then strictly 1 day is just straight spraying first coat, back roll, and second coat sealing, doing 2 coats on the walls, and then last day semi-gloss and then clean up the touch-ups.
Okay, that sounds awesome. I mean, it sounds like right in the ballpark of what's working for us now. We have good painters now. We're just expanding, so they can't keep up with the work that we have. So we're looking to add some team members. It sounds like you got a good team. Normally, we pay those guys around, for the smaller houses around like $2K, bigger houses like 3,500. And smaller houses, like we have a Cape Cod right now, it's like 1,400 square foot. That would be like the 2K house. And then somewhere bigger houses are like 2,500 square feet. And normally they're like around 3,500, but they take maybe like 5 days to do the bigger one and maybe like 3 days to do the smaller one.
Gotcha.
That's how we buy all the paint and everything.
Like set for custom painting, like anything with accents, stains, lacquer, stuff of that nature. I have a crew for that. I have a crew of straight production guys.
Oh, cool.
Production guys, yeah, we do. They do anything production, like what you're talking about. Would mostly be my production guys, just in and out.
Now, are you familiar with Slickersville?
Slickersville?
Yeah, Slickersville.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Because that's where a lot of our houses are. I was making sure. I know you said you work down by the beach. It's not too far, but it's a little bit.
Yeah, we live in Violent, so that's like straight in the middle of the beach in Philadelphia. So anything in between that and South Jersey is where we usually serve.
Good.
Now, Slickersville, that's in Gloucester Township, right?
Yeah, somewhere around there. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's like half an hour from me.
All right, not too bad. Perfect. Well, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna have my partner Ray give you a call. He has a house coming up shortly. It's gonna need some paint, and you know, I'll have him talk with you and get some estimates because you know, it sounds like we got a lot of houses, man. We do quite a few every year, so it could be a good relationship for both of us.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, like I said, I have like just for production. I work with a few other investors and people who flip houses. They work with a few banks that buy like hundreds of houses.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Dude, sounds like a perfect fit, man. I'll be calling you probably in the next few days. I'll have Ray call you, okay?
All right, yeah. If you can't reach me, like by call, just text me.
Yeah, I'll send you a
Like,
text.
within minutes.
Yeah, you did,
Like
man. I
right now.
appreciate you calling back.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Yeah, I was just driving and we're in the middle of praying, so I didn't really hear.
Yeah, no problem, man. I appreciate
But
that.
but I do check my phone like every hour, every half an hour. Cause I get maybe like 10 calls, emails, messages a day. And gotten to that point where I just gotta check I gotta be on my phone 24/7.
Okay, yeah. Dude, so you'll hear from me shortly, and thanks for taking the call. Have a good evening, okay, Angel?
Awesome. You too, man.
All
Take
right,
care.
see you, man. All right, bye. So Angel sounded really good. I mean, like, I got good vibes from him. I didn't, you know, you see all the questions I asked him were revolved around clarifying, like, is he work for someone like us? You know, does that pricing feel normal? You see, I kind of tied him into the days. And listen, I wasn't looking for that to be perfect, but I was looking for it not to sound out of sync, right?
Yeah.
If I'd have been like 2K, he's like, nah, 2K is crazy. Nah, it takes me 6 days. You know, if he'd have been giving me a lot of like fight back on everything, he didn't sound that way. He actually sounded professional. He's like, I got a production crew. You know, I would have high hopes for him. With that being said, the trap would be just jumping on board with only him and being like, no, I got a guy. Because he hadn't seen the house yet. He hasn't given us a price for a real house yet. But it sounds like we got a chance. But I'd like to, outcome for the day or, you know, the next few days would be to get a couple guys like him. Because, see, I feel like with him, if I had 3 guys as good as him or 4 guys as good as him, that there'd be no chance one of them wouldn't work out. But you see how it's very like in my brain, I was instantly thinking like, dude, that's probably our dude. But it's really important you step back and say, okay, cool. He very well could be our dude. But if I can get 3 more of him, then I know one of them will work out. Because like we always want to kind of understand it with people who sound great on the phone. It's still going to be like some fallout rate. Like generally you get 3 people to be like, oh, I'm awesome. Like one works out usually. Yeah. So knowing that it only works. And if you were to go all the way with just Angel, and then he didn't work out, you'd be butthurt and you'd feel like you got to start over again. So if by having 3 people, it just hedging your bets a little bit, right? You're getting like a little insurance policy. You're also very abundant. I think Nancy and Jim told me this a few times where they're like, hey, we got this person, but we had a really good person we didn't pick who's kind of sitting in the background. And you know what? We're going to go to them. And, you know, they did actually. I think like when their towel guy got all wiggy, they fired him and, you know, and got another dude in because they had that plan B sitting there. It was a really important piece of that. If it would have felt like they had to start over and go back to the funnel, it would have been more likely they would have waited it out with that guy than just saying, you know, when they got a weird feeling, I did a great job, Nancy, and probably more Jim, right, Jim? I'm going to give Jim the credit, not Nancy. She's really nice to people. No, she's kind of.
Are you kidding me?
I'm joking.
I'm the heavy. I am the heavy.
You are mean. I know you're mean. You're very. Everyone's afraid of you, Nancy. That's one thing they say in the group. I didn't want to tell you
Am I
how
heavy?
mean you are.
I am so the heavy in our relationship.
No, so both of them were very good about getting rid of this towel guy. I give no credit to one or the other, but the guy was a little wiggy. He was asking for some crazy stuff. She also seen some pictures of work he did for someone else, another student, and that got her kind of like, I don't know. And she did a great job of just not. The guy started saying, I want money up front. And she was like, no. And they just moved on. One of the main reasons they could do that was the abundance of having 2 people sitting there. She was on the fence when she picked this person. And she knew there were some other good people she liked. So you can see how getting like 3 people and having like that difficult choice of picking is the secret to being abundant and just being like, no, you're out. Like, because I can tell you that if you haven't been through this process and you haven't got really good at the funnel, then you're absolutely doing what everyone does. And that you're keeping bad people in too long and you're lowering your standards to work with people in general. Because I've done it. I did it for the first 6 or 7 years. I was working with people who were insane. And I almost at some point would tell people like, well, I'm a zookeeper and like, you know, they're the animals and I'm a zoo. And I was proud of myself, my ability to manage the animals. But it really was a low-level thought process because I would get people to do things I needed, but at the cost of sacrificing, like, you know, quality of life and, you know, quality of environment. you know?
And we're looking for 5-star contractors. So if they are showing you that they're not that person, we might work with them on just this one project, but we know that they're not our guy.
Well, that just bring up a really good point too. So have 3 people like that guy. So for paint, we'd want to get 3 people like that guy. For sheetrock, we'd want to get 3 people like that guy. And if we had to talk to 20 people to get the 3 that we felt really confident with on the phone, we wouldn't start meeting people until we get enough people we feel confident. What I'd like to do ultimately is have like everyone meet me there in an afternoon. So I'm not going there meeting. I want to meet everyone. And I want to try to meet everyone as efficiently as possible. And I never want to just meet one person, because like what I've seen happen to me quite often is one person says they'll be there at 1, they don't show up at all. Not uncommon. Now you've wasted all this time going there, and you know, it's disheartening. You want to make sure that you protect yourself against people because look, if the bad people start wearing you down, you never get an opportunity to get to the good people. So it's important that we get to the good people and we take the time to do so. So with that being said, get 3 people, number one. And what Nancy just made me think of, crap, I hope I didn't lose that point because it was a really good point. What was it real second? I got to take 1 second.
That we're looking for 5-star contractors. And if they're not that person.
Oh, here's the point. You said if they're not that person, we might work with them for a while. So here's what I want you to think about, and I want you to put everyone through the filter of when you hire any one person, it's never about getting the job done because you need to get it done. It's about, could this person potentially be someone that could work with me long term? So every job becomes the opportunity to potentially get your really long-term asset, right? So what you never want to do is sacrifice and take someone who you think can get the job done, but you can tell from a character standpoint isn't a good fit, because if you take that shortcut, then you're basically, you have to do the same thing over again the next time. So I've done that a lot where I'm like, I just need to get the job moving forward, and I've set myself up for failure. But I really want you to look at every time you hire someone to do something that you're trying to hire your forever electrician, your forever plumber. And if you don't think on the phone that that's a possibility, then don't do it. Just keep searching, right? That's a volume thing. You haven't looked or talked to enough people. Now, here's the rub of all this is that you could think you have your forever electrician and still there will be a high fallout rate and you will not get your forever electrician. But if you're talking to only people you love, numbers I've seen is if you work with 3 to 5 people, one of them will be really awesome and that problem will be solved for a long time. If you work with like C players, you could literally work with 100 of them and not get one. Right? You will never get to the A players because the C players are always the first to come. So it's like thinking about like you got to dig 20 foot under the ground to get to the A players, but the C players are only about 3 foot down. So I can tell you, I don't like to dig. And if you're digging, you get to a C player and you're like, what? I got to have 17 more feet to get to an A player. You're probably, well, let me just see if I can make the C player work out. So you have to say no to the C player so you can get very focused on the fact that you got to get 20 foot down. You got to do the 20-foot dig. You got to work hard to get to the right people. What happens when you put all that upfront work in is now all the headaches you would have at the C player, all the missed deadlines, the work that needs to be punched out, the lying, the bull crap, the drama, exactly, all the crap that would come with all this. You basically get to avoid that for a really long period of time until you have to do this again in the future. I've had people 7 years with me because once I got an A player, I do my best to keep them around. I found that I can be a great leader with an A player because, I'm not so butthurt all the time with them that I can actually give them compliments and, I can work with them when they have bad weeks. They're not always going to be perfect, but I know they're coming from a great place. They're not always giving me a lot of crap. So when you do get an A player, man, you get like a really long period of like enjoyment and so much benefit. And it's just awesome, right? You get that with your painter. You need a little of everyone. Your general carpenter that you and Jim are looking for, Nancy, is that's a vital person. Someone who can just do a lot of odds and ends. That's someone that would stop Jim from ever picking a hammer up again. Someone who needs something done. I can do a lot of stuff like Jim can, but I've over the last couple of years, I've just, I sold my hammers. I actually had to go to Harbor Freight and buy tools when we were doing a demo day in-field training because I didn't have any, because I gave them away purposely because I was like, if I own them, I'm going to go use them. If I don't own them, then I'm like, have no tools. So yeah, Jim, I'll buy your tools. Did you see that little sign out front of your house that says we buy tools? That's me. It's 443-858-3317. I'll give you 40 cents on a dollar for your tools. And I'm selling to my contractors.
I just spent 3 weeks saying over and over and over, I've got one in my car. I've got one in my car. I've got that in my car, and I've got that. And yes, I'm pretty sure I've got that. And it was everything but a table saw.
Well, anyone that needs to borrow your tools gets ejected right away. Like, because they should have their own.
Our painter that we thought was going to be so great, not so great.
In general, if they don't have tools, that's usually a first sign. They got to have some tools. So anyhow, well, cool. Let's see if anyone else calls us back. But Angel looks good for Ray, and Ray should definitely contact him whenever he's ready for paint. And I like Angel a lot now. And I think Angel did give us enough feeling of like, okay, that's who we're looking for. You guys, tell me what, like Paul, TJ, anyone, what was some of the feedback or some of the things you heard that you liked about Angel, or the things I said, or, you know, what do you feel like that you've seen that you liked or enjoyed or that you'll use?
The big thing for me was when you kind of gave him the gauge, right, for how many days it would take to get the house done. Mm-hmm. And he was like, yep, this is what we do. And he was rattling off some other stats. I thought that was really good, because that's one of the areas that I need to get sharper on too. Mm-hmm. You know, when they get the job and say, this is the amount of time it needs to get done in, then they understand that that's the expectation. It's not something that you're really pushing them outside of normal limits, right? But it's just what needs to happen.
Dude, I love that he knew all that. Didn't you guys love that? He knew all that, which tells me he's analytical. He's a smart guy. He definitely was no dummy. He was like, no, I got to see the job. It's like one of the worst things you can hear.
Your pricing was good.
I have to see him.
Right. Based on square footage, he got it. He got excited too. You could tell he was getting excited. There was a meeting of the minds that you both, it was a win-win for both sides.
Yeah, I've already texted him and told him that I'm going to pay him $1,800 and he agreed, but I'm going to subcontract him to Ray for $2,200. It's my new profit center. Ray. Don't call me if they don't do a good job, though. That's for my $400. I don't need the headaches. Let me call me when it's crooked. No, I think he's a good guy, though, and I mean, we'll see. I'm hopeful for him. That was I don't know. Sometimes I feel like I get quite lucky, but it can't be that I'm that lucky, right? If you guys have heard me make these calls before, and I think a lot of why the people I talk to, I've done this about 15 or 20 phone calls in the last couple months in different groups, you know, other of our groups. And I've only talked to like one Ray, one goofball. And it's been like, because the picking that we just did, we're weeding out the goofballs because I don't really have time. And you notice how I'm not like, I called those 4 or 5 people, but even though the 4 or 5 people didn't answer, you notice how I didn't go to the B and C level people? I left that alone. What I prefer to do is go ahead and just wait 2 more days, right? In 2 more days, if Ray keeps this running, he'll have more people. And Ray, you should keep this running because I know you got a guy to do your sheetrock, but you know, I want you to be abundant to the point where you can top grade, right? Where you could literally have people. And he sounds like he could be a good painter, and you were looking for a good painter, right? Yeah, awesome. So let's get a strong, like multiple painters. One will have to work out. You see how we're stacking the deck a little bit? And that's like, I think somebody, one of the coaches around here, like did a meeting, and I went to her meeting. She was like, your network is your net worth. And it's like probably a cheesy saying that everyone says, but it's pretty true with the contractors. Don't you agree, as house flippers? Like definitely pretty true. If you've got some strong people to do work. TJ, you had some feedback too.
Me and Nikki just switched. I got on the call now.
Yeah, you were on though, but you heard when we were talking or no?
No.
Oh, good. So he's like, yeah, I don't know anything. Cool. Well, Nikki actually, Nikki and TJ, we did the same thing that we're doing for Ray for them, and they're actually working with one of the people that came from that call, Cassandra, and it's the only person I've ever heard Nikki like. So I don't know if that's still the case, but she's like,
who, Cassandra?
Yes.
Yeah, she's painting the bus yard now.
Oh, is she? Dude, so see, like that's awesome, right? And we called 4 or 5 people, and from those 4 or 5 people, one person came out. Do you realize how, like, if we just did that regularly and we're able to pull just one person out of like every session, or even one potential person, it's a compounding effect. There's no way over like 6 months you wouldn't have the deepest stack of people you love, like, you know, 10 Cassandras.
We have out here at night. It's got,
well, I got can you hear me?
I can, yeah.
Okay, so we got Cassandra actually doing punch out work too, and they're really good at that.
Yep,
so we're pretty happy.
Yeah, she's awesome. And she was bugging me, by the way. And she was one of like 2 or 3 people we talked to. And yeah, she's really good. So loving her. So that's all you need. You can see how you start getting these good people, and you know, Nikki loves her. So, and Nikki's not, she's, you know, they do good houses. So they're not going to be easy to work for. Whenever you have a high standard, like, first of all, you're not going to get away with doing sloppy work, because their work quality is very good. So like Nikki or TJ is not going to let sloppy work get by. So, you know, they're able to make them happy. It means they got a good person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Ray, how about you? What did you see in there? Because I know part of why you wanted me to make those calls is because you just wanted to see if there's anything that different from what you felt like you were doing.
Just quantifying more of the stuff on the phone. I find I just get into like talking to the guys and like, yeah, I can do everything. And once I hear that, I'm like, oh, he can do everything. And after like 30 guys, I should realize they can't do everything. So I didn't quantify it to a timeline, to a price range. Like you said, you don't hold them to it, but you have the conversations up front. And even at that, he could have agreed to that, and he could see the house and be like, no, I can't do it. Anything could change on site, but I think that's what's important, is clarifying that stuff up front.
Yeah. So Ray makes a really good point, and I can teach you one of the techniques is it's not accepting what people say, it's digging deeper. When people give you vague, oh yeah, I do everything, it's a super vague answer. It's our job to stop and say, well, hold on, what does everything mean? You know, when he did tell me that we do a lot of things, I'm like, well, what is it that you do well, right? What do you love? And what did he say? I paint is my thing. And I love that he had a thing, right? Because like, I forgot what he even said he did otherwise. Like, paint is the only thing I remember now. Because that paint, he was passionate. I mean, he's like, I got painters to do this, painters do that. Like, I can paint anything. He seemed like a legitimate painter. And then he started talking good numbers on the time, good numbers on the price. I don't know. I feel like you would be putting him on the right seat of the bus. You're right, Ray. It's very easy just to go with people. And sometimes we even got to push a little bit, because they don't even know. And what I find is when you push people and you clarify with them, if you can't get clear with them over a certain period of time on the phone, then that disqualifies them. Right? If they can't be like, this is my thing I do, and they're just this generalist that can do a bunch of dumb things, but they're not good at anything, that's probably not going to be our guy.
Ironically, in his application, I just went and checked. He listed like 7 things, but when you asked him, it was like, it was paint. Like,
paint is his thing. Yeah. So imagine if you would have hired him for something else that wasn't his thing. You might have thought he was awful. Like that's the thing we were trying to figure out. So I always ask them, I want to see if they're self-aware. He seemed very self-aware. And some people some people live in fantasy land. It's one of the big things you want to be careful when you're talking to people and contractors. Is the reason I quantify everything so much is I want to see if they're very self-aware. I want to see if they're realistic about things, or are they someone who lives in fantasy land? When somebody's like, no, dude, I'm so fast at rolling that I can roll a whole house just as fast as someone can spray. I'm like, oh, cool. That guy's on drugs. Like, he's on mushrooms or something. I mean, because that's not true. And I mean, you know, sometimes they're so passionate about it that we believe them. And I'm like, well, maybe he does have a special technique. You're just not going to beat the machine. It's like humans against a machine. You're not going to beat a machine that's meant to spray stuff 50. The way that the sprayer makes things go on the wall, it covers better. Literally, like, if you spray over a wall with decent paint, it'll go over a pink wall in 2 coats. And if you roll that same wall, it's 4 to 5 coats. Because the way the roller puts the paint on versus the way the sprayer puts it on, the sprayer literally evenly spreads it out better versus the roller kind of, you know, more heavily puts it over. And so it gets more bleed through. So yeah, sprayers crush rollers. And anyhow, we all know that, but I just wanted to give you kind of some science behind it. So we want to make sure people are in reality and they're being thoughtful. So the big part is like, don't accept what they're saying, dig deeper. Dig. Oh, what do you mean by that? No, can you tell me, hey, can you give me an example of time you've done that? When you say, oh yeah, I work for investors, all kind of investors, all kind. When's the last job you done, right? You see how I just dig, because I want to get more clarity. And then what I'm trying to do, the more information I get, I'm trying to add a story up, and then I have to make a conclusion whether this someone's going to be worth my time or not, because your time, everyone on this phone's time is highly valuable. Because I don't care if you've got 1 hour a day or you're retired and you're like, I could just sit there all day and meet people. Let's pretend that Jim's like, I have nothing to do. I'll just meet people all day, right? He totally could do that. He's almost retired. He's semi-retired. So he could totally do that. The thing is, Jim can't emotionally meet people all day and without losing his mind. And then, you know, without me, you can't meet 50 bozos every day and then not like be like, hey, this shit ain't working and I'm done with it. So the reality is it isn't just about our time. It's also about our sanity and knowing like if we're meeting more people that seem like Angel, then our overall feel for the process is going to be more acceptable, right? We can deal with it. But if we're meeting like crazy people because we're not filtering well, then man, I'm telling you, it will wear you down eventually and it'll soften you up. And then next thing you know, the C player will look like an A player because you've seen too many D players. You know, you're like seeing all these E players or whatever the next one is complete lunatics. So it's important.
Well,
all right.
I've got a question for you too about you were interviewing Angel and I've tried to do that about, so how long do you think that's going to take? And they said, well, I got 3 guys. It's going to take about 4 days, maybe 5. And you go, okay, so we're planning on 5 days. And the next thing you know, it's 9 days and they're still not done. So you let the contractor set the time, but then it goes way the hell over.
But they sign a contract. Everybody's on the same page.
Well, that's just people lying, though. So that's something you're not going to be able to avoid. But you could ask more questions when they're like, it's like 4 days, maybe 5 days. I would literally be like, listen, for like a standard house like ours, our guys are usually, you see how I said my guys that we're currently working with, they're usually able to get it done in about 3 days, 3 people, and no more than 3.5 days. Problem is, if it takes you 5 days, you could be on, not really profitable at the prices we pay. So I mean, I asked you, have you done something like this before? You see what I mean? I would just dig deeper, and sometimes you'll weed that person out, and then sometimes you're just going to run into someone that takes 9 days. But like you said, you do have a contract, and what I always tell people, if I'm really clear, like, hey, if this ain't done in 3 days, I will have you're going to get replaced. At some point, as we're signing the contract, I'm like, look, you're good for 3 days, right? You don't have to sign a contract. I usually do verbal contracts, by the way, just for a painter, if I'm not paying them up front. You certainly want a contract, fine, right? Not a big deal, because the contract's more meaningless than the verbal part of it. Like, hey, what you're going to do is qualify before, hey, listen, I know you're starting on Thursday. Are you definitely going to be able to put a full day in, all 3 guys? And are you going to be able to do that for 3 days in a row? And if it's like, yes, you see what I mean? That would be the last piece to just qualify. And I don't think that's a bad thing to do, because you're right. People will tell you one thing and then it'll be like they never said it. So I think the more we can double check, the more we can pre-qualify and, just say, hey, dude, are you good? Right. It's that clarity of conversation and never making any assumptions of like, oh, well, he said on the phone he'd do it, so I'm just going to assume. All right. So I literally sometimes will ask people 2-3 times if it's the first time we're working together. I'm really getting a lot of verbal buy-in from them. That would be something I do more live, but I'll do it on the phone a little bit. But if we're live, it's going to be, and I'm ready to hire someone, I'm like, look, this is what it is. You're good. I'll have the paint there Tuesday. You will have 3 people here every day for 3 days, no more than 4 days, right? You're sure you can do this? You 100%, Jim? Like, because look, the investor, not me. I don't care what you do. The investor's a jerk. It's this crazy lady, Nancy. And she's just like, she's the heavy.
Oh.
Everyone knows she's known across the East Coast that she don't play no games and she will dock you. Now you're just saying like, she's just like,
do you ever, I have 2 questions. What if they start leaving like at 3 o'clock every day? They're not putting in the full day. And the other is in our contract, it says if you go over the time that we both agreed to, it's $100 a day penalty. Now we haven't.
I've never taken that from anyone, and I think it's more there as like it's more there as an incentive to like. But I've never taken it from anyone. Here's the thing, I just think it's probably bad form if somebody's just a day over. I'm really generous about that, but if they get many days over, where I think the $100 a day really starts to help you, is so they can't come back later and be like, hey, I did half the job. You could literally use that money and be like, hey, you left and didn't come back for 3 weeks at $100 a day. It ran off anything that you would have been paid.
But what about these guys that are coming in and they go and they take a 2-hour lunch, and at 2 o'clock, they just quietly disappear?
Well, it's probably these are American guys, right?
Yeah.
Okay, because Spanish guys, I can tell you, they bring their own lunch, which is always impressive, and it takes 20 minutes to eat it. The wife usually, they bring their wives cook them some really good lunches. I mean, generally I've been jealous a few times. I've come there for lunch. I'm like, man, I should
Bring a full
bring me something. Exactly. Like cut me in on this.
Got 2 crock pots and plug them in.
Yeah. Oh, they love it. They cook on the job. They do a lot of that. But look, if they're doing that, then again, it's just that next level of communication is going to weed a lot of those people out. It won't weed them all out. You'll still get it. But then you have to have a leadership conversation of like, look, we agreed upon this. You gave your word. The investor is going to probably at some point, we're going to have to let you go. And I don't even talk about the $100 a day because it's kind of hard to take the $100 a day from them if they're not actually doing anything. I'm just like, look, we're at a place where I might have to get another one of our painters in. See, I always tell them I have painters. I don't tell them I'm looking for a painter. I'm like, I have painters. They're busy on other jobs. I like saying that because then it creates this illusion of like, I have other people that can come take over for you, but also this is something that's worked for someone else. Right. That's why when I say I have other painters, this is how they get paid. And, you know, it looks like it's working for someone else. And then also if I have other painters that are, you know, doing a lot of work for me, it is, you know, they instantly assume that I would pay them. I'm not going to rip them off. And so I don't have to give them any money up front. It just, again, and it's true for me. Maybe it's not true for you. Either way, just say it and just say we have other painters and this is what they need to do. We're just looking to, you know, we're growing and we're looking to add to our team and would love to have an additional painter. But here's what we expect. So we get 3 days in and they're supposed to be done and they're halfway done. Then you're just having a conversation of like, look, we said 3 days, you're supposed to be done. You're halfway done. They're going to give you every excuse in the book. Then you're going to have to say, look, how long before you get done? And then what I'll do at this point, Jim, so this is what I would advise for everyone. Let's say I'm 3 days in, they're halfway done. And they're like, oh, no, we'll have it done for Friday for sure. I'll be like, okay, so you're 100% for sure because you told me 100% before. So are you 100% like a real 100% this time? Friday, 100%. So listen, I want to just have a conversation about this because I'm going to have to go to the investor and ask for 2 more days. So I'm going to let you know that on Saturday morning, I'm going to have my other crew in here finishing up if you're not finished on Friday. Are you okay with that? If you want 2 more days, that you're going to have to agree to that. It's that simple. And if they're like, no, I'm not agreeing to that, I'm like, cool, then we're going to have to just part ways now. I'll go ahead and I'm going to have to let you go then. It's that simple. That's how I work with people. So I either if I'm going to give them time, what I always attach to that additional time is a pre-negotiated exit plan. Right? Does that make sense? It's pretty like genius if you think about it, because instead of like coming there, because like if you have a pre-negotiated exit plan, then it really is very not confrontational. In general, I've had people just be like, nah, dude, we talked about it. You know, it's all good. And they know because I'm like, you know, I'm just so clear about it that like they're not shocked by it. What people are shocked by the way, is you could threaten them 15 times. And then on the 16th time, you actually do it. And they're like, what? Can't believe you did that. Because they think people won't follow through with their threats. So I'm so clear about it, so analytical about it. I'm just like, look, this is specifically what's going to happen. Here's when it's going to happen. So just know that I'm not going to have another discussion with you. Literally Saturday morning, just assume that please don't come back to the job. We're probably going to change the lockbox. Saturday morning, you just consider yourself fired if this is not done. So it's just easy that way. And if they don't agree to that, I fire them on the spot. Pretty simple. That way, think about that, by the way. And TJ, think about that for you. How that would have worked for you if you'd have done that exact thing with the plumber, right? You don't get any more plumbers taking a month, right? As soon as they don't do what they're supposed to do, you just tell them you're fired. I'm letting you go. You get one chance, maybe 2 chances tops. I'm not, because you get in all that like 3 and 4 and 5 chances. It's just brutal, right? They'll string you along for the rest of your life. They'll string you along forever, and they will. They'll find a million reasons, and most of them will make sense, and you'll even believe they're actually real reasons, but they're not. The bottom line is they gave you their word for 3 days, and now it's been 5 days. This is just truly a matter of honor. When I used to give my word and I wasn't getting done the day I promised, I've stayed till 2 in the morning before working. I literally had a neighbor call the police on me because I had a chop saw running at 1:30 in the morning, trying to put the last piece of shoe molding in on a flooring job. That's what someone does who cares about their word. And I didn't never cry about it because I was like, you know what? I was embarrassed to go to my contractor who hired me to do the flooring. I knew that if I didn't finish, he wouldn't give me more work. And I was embarrassed to like break my promise. So yes, when people have excuses, you're seeing that we have 2 types of people who do what they say and people who don't. That's the way I see life, right? Is people who do what they say and people that don't. And if he's 3 days late, 3 days late, he's someone who didn't do what he said. And especially if there's some 2-hour lunches mixed in their gym and leaving at 3 o'clock. And no, that's somebody who's so doesn't care about keeping their word that they are taking 2-hour lunches and leaving early.
Do you have people check in with you every day, or if Jim's over there, would that be acceptable?
Yeah, as much, whatever you decide is acceptable. You make the rules. It's your house. You're the king of this castle, Jim, and queen of this castle, right? You do whatever you want. If you want to check in on them, general, if they're new and you've never worked with them before, it's nice to check in with them daily, see how it's going.
Mm-hmm.
See if they're making a good progress.
When you start, or at the end of the day?
Whatever you feel comfortable with. If they just started, then there's no reason to check in unless there's questions. Quick call, like, hey, Jim, now you're getting started. You got everything you need, and you make it to the job. I mean, I might just check in to see when they get there, because that might be the right off the start when they're supposed to be there at 8 and now it's like 1:30 and they haven't came.
Hello.
I probably at some point and they're like, I can't come till the next day. I'm just gonna be like, hey, dude, don't bother. Especially if I had to call them and they didn't call me. You know, if they're calling me, they're communicating, that's different. And they're saying, then I have a little more tolerance if they're calling me. But what most people do is they don't do anything unless you call them. They'll just like act like it never happened. That's unacceptable. So the moral of everything I'm teaching you right now, it has to do more with like being willing to fire people when they don't keep their word. Because look, I have a lot of people right now that make mistakes. They do stuff wrong. One guy just put white caulk in the corner of a whole bathroom that had towel with tan towel. And he put white caulk in it. I'm like, I want to punch him in his face. He's been working with me for 7 years. And I'm like, I've told him multiple times not to do that. And even the guy that works for him, his boss, looked at me and did this. And he goes, I told him to do. Oh, he's like exhausted by it. I'm like, what is he doing? I was like, now he's got to sit and dig it all out, and then he's not going to get paid that much this week, and they're going to complain about their pay because they're now spending hours cleaning up some stupid work. So my guys don't get it right, but will he fix it? Yes, he will. He'll 100% fix it, and whatever it ends up being, right? He will not complain. So it'll happen. So that, for me, I let some of the dumb stuff slide because they have good character. They're there every day working hard. They're there. I get there at 8:30, they'll be there. And I get there today. I got there yesterday at 4:30, and they were packing up. Right? They're consistent. So do they always do things efficiently, perfectly, and fast? No, but that's what I'm there to help with sometimes. But I am getting manpower there 8 hours a day, solid day. So that's more concerning for me. Yes, if they're leaving early, Jim, that's a bad sign of laziness, and especially if the work's not getting done. Like, I just think that you don't earn the opportunity to go home early if you're not getting the work done. That's a privilege. It's like coffees for closers, man.
Yeah, if they leave early, most of the time they're going to another job.
Yeah, they're going to another job, or they're just basically saying, F you, I don't think your job's important.
Right.
Whatever it is. But so the bottom line is if somebody doesn't do what they say, then you can easily just be like, look, you made this promise. Like, get very real about it. Don't blame them. Just say, look, we agreed to 3 days. It's now 3 days. You look like you're about halfway done. When can you finish 100%? Because I'm going to have to go ask permission to give you an extension on your time. I now have to reschedule other people. This is inconvenient. So when are you 100% to finish? And they're like, I will be finished by Friday, 100%. And you just, hey, okay, cool. I'm going to give you till Friday. And if it's reasonable, if they're like, a bunch of time, then tell them, no, I'm firing you now. But if it's reasonable and you want to give it to them, then just, add in you're fired as of Saturday. So listen, I'm not going to call you. I'm not going to go through it. I'm just going to change the lockbox and we'll work out the pay depending on what you get done. But you will be replaced. I'm actually going to be calling a painter right now to get them tentatively on the schedule for Saturday in case you don't make it to get this done. Literally, that's a much harder conversation. And guess what? It's the conversation you've earned the right to have because they broke their promise. When someone breaks their promise, you have to, it's a big thing. You got to let them know it's no fun to break promises with you guys. No fun at all, because I'm not going to make it easy on you.
And what do you do in a situation where the job has become, in their eyes, more difficult? They've already agreed on the price, how long it's going to take, and then they realize they have to put in, little mosaic tile in between at Bodkin, that 12-inch kitchen cabinet and the window, the casing on the window. And he just said, oh man, that's going to be so hard to do. So, it's not that much space, but now his attitude, and I think that might be one reason why he left, because he didn't even finish the downstairs tile. He left with half the floor done. While we were eating lunch, he bugged out after
He quit?
No, he just left without finishing. It was really bizarre. He's
already taking forever because he started a long time ago. That tile should have been done in 3 or 4 days, and he's like 8 to 10 days in.
Well, yeah, he took Friday off to go to a doctor's appointment. And so I think,
Yeah, but why do you leave today at 12 when he's, you know what I'm saying? Because something that's bullshit.
yeah, and I think we have to
So
call
do
him
you
a-
guys,
or we will.
so just say, hey guys, the same thing, right? Hey, listen, man, you're way over the schedule. Unfortunately, my investor came, which by the way, they did. And they've taken this out of my hands. They've already got another towel guy ready to schedule and ready to finish. But I've convinced him to let you, I mean, if you're willing to come finish, fine. If not, then I'm gonna have someone else come take care of it. It's that simple. That conversation is the most likely thing to get them to finish, by the way, and start taking you seriously, and you not just sitting around taking forever. And you have to be willing to lose to win. You got to be willing for the guy to walk out. I've seen a guy at Tanya's house. He did one bathroom, and it took him 2.5 weeks. 2.5 weeks, and it ain't even done well. Literally. That was when we ended up doing the backsplash, because I was like, I can't wait 2 more weeks for the backsplash. He had his saw here, so I just showed her how to do it. Me and her did it in an hour and a half. And I was like, he'll take a year to do that.
I wanted to watch those YouTube videos on how to tile.
He just, I don't know what happened to him, but he literally, one day he went in and cut all the tiles in dry and did not put thin set under them. And I'm like, who does that? That's some weird stuff. Then the next day he came in and he just picked up 4 tiles and glued those down. And the next day he didn't come. And then he came 2 days later, he put 4 more tiles in, and then he put another 3 tiles in. It was like, he would be there for hours. I was like, I think he's just trying to get away from his wife or something. I don't know what he's doing, and like saying he's working, but he literally, and he never complained about money, nothing, but he held me up for way too long. He sucked. And listen, he came with a really good resume. He said he worked for a flooring store forever. So I don't know how he did any of that with the brain power he was running on. So anyhow, you're getting to a place with your tile guy. He's taking too long, and all that bullshit with the mosaic tile and all that, that's not on you. Don't make that real, right? That isn't your problem. He's a professional. So whatever the tile job is, it should not be a big deal. There's nothing, like you said, I've seen you alluding to it when you said it, it ain't, whatever he's talking about is bullshit. It's not real. It's not hard to do. I did tile for years. I was actually a tile installer and a hardwood installer before I started doing this. And tile, like, I don't know, a couple mosaic tiles, so what? Right? And the thing is, it's his job. He took the job on. It ain't like you threw new stuff on. It's not like you tricked him. You know, acting like it's your fault and then not putting the hours in is a problem. Right? They got to put the hours in. So he needs to get finished. And you just say, look, man, unfortunately, you know, take it like it ain't you. You don't need to be the heavy. Make Gary the heavy. Fortunately, my guy came in and he just basically told me I need to fire you, but I really like working with you and I don't want to do that. How long will it take you to finish what you're doing? Like, I need it 100% done. And if you can't do it quickly, he's already got someone on the calendar to come in and, you know, finish up so we can get this moving. So would you, and then sometimes I'll even ask, would you like to have me have someone finish this up for you? And you know, and if they're like, oh, sure, I'm like, cool. And I just do it. If they don't want to do it, I don't want to force them to do it. I don't want to wait 7 days to do, you know, 18 square foot of tile. He's pretty close now, right?
He's doing good. He's actually doing good tile work, and he lays it pretty quick when he gets in there. But then,
he's not working.
If you turn your back on him, he's out the door.
Lazy bum. I'm assuming this is a white guy, right?
Yeah, and he has these guys that have helpers that they're driving around. It's just that's what happened with our painter. It's like you're leaving to drive your helper home, and then you're coming back. It's crazy. And
whatever. It's just that's an excuse. That's all bullshit.
Yeah.
But somebody like that's generally on drugs or something going on with them. I mean, it's weird that people are like that. So yeah, just whatever it is, try to get them finished. If you can't get finished soon, then just find someone else.
But the exciting thing is, this is the first flip where we've had stacked contractors, like 3, 4, 5 contractors working in the house at the same time. I know it sounds weird, but for us, because we were following that list, remember that I showed you? Now it's kind of like, oh, let's see if we can't stack contractors. And so it's been wonderful to see all the activity.
That is the next step, to be able to do that. You stack the contractors and, what in the heck? Oh, God.
What's wrong?
Looks like they're picking up something dead in the road.
Oh.
What a little, I don't know what she's doing. Must be a squirrel or something.
Dinner. No.
I know. It's a snack. It's dessert. Now, why are you bringing it back here?
I had to kill.
Throw it in the neighbor's yard. All right, what can I help with? Some of the other people will be coming on shortly, but hopefully that's some clarity. That gave you some clarity around the contractors. Obviously, we'll have many more talks about it, but it really is pretty simple once you get decisive about it. And this is the secret for Paul, who's newer to the group, and for everyone who feels like they could be getting done sooner. The secret to getting done sooner is everything we just talked about. This call is the thing that unwraps that. It's having abundance. It's being clear, being a really strong communicator. I'm super nice to people all the time. I just don't take their crap. As soon as they go into like dishonoring their word, then that's not the person I want to be around. So I'm not worried about them quitting. I'm not worried about them leaving. Because if somebody's like consistently breaking their word, I know for me that's going to be problematic. It's going to create tension for me. It's going to create resentment. I don't enjoy working with people like that.
Mm-hmm.
So to give their word, I mean, we're all human here. So if we see someone doing their best to keep their word within reason, I give them no crap about it. But him leaving at noon is not an example of someone doing their best. That's crap, right? Taking off Friday for this, doing that, leaving at noon. This is someone just, he just needs to get finished. He's then got lulled into a sense of, I can get away with stuff. He's like a kid who's acting out and thinking he can get away with everything.
Absolutely. That's what it seems like to me.
We're going to punish his ass now. Put him on a little timeout.
I can do that. I can do that.
Yeah. Give him like those nun rulers or something and say, hey, stay to work past 12. Knock this out, man. Mm-hmm. Hey, or lose your job. I mean, it's really simple. And then just blame it on, it's like, hey, it's not me, man. What do you want me to do? You're way past the schedule. What'd you think was going to happen? It's really simple. What'd you think was going to happen when you took twice as long to do something?
Well, right? He sees our painter taking a long time and are not doing anything until today about it.
Yeah. So this is all part of it. If you work people, you don't give them an environment. Whenever someone's like, well, what do I do? This guy, all these people keep doing this. The thing I'm going to tell you, you're never going to be happy with is I'm going to be like, that's your fault because you're allowing that environment. Yeah, it's real simple. I mean, if you ever watch like Super Nanny or anything, it's really interesting. I love that show too. It's a really cool show. Like the kids are animals, right? And then the Super Nanny comes in and the Super Nanny don't go for it. Super Nanny, you have those kids running around.
Fault. Yeah.
Yep. The Super Nannies will have that kids in shape in like one day because the kids know they can't get away with it. And the second they know they can't get away with it, all of a sudden the kid who was like, I mean, we'll watch that show and I'll be, oh, that kid's retarded or something. Like he's got mentally challenged. Like he can't be cured. And next thing you know, he's like, hi, mother. When would you like me to do this? And it's like, he's the went from this complete animal to this perfect kid. And I'm like, holy crap, that kid, I thought there was no chance for that kid. Right? I thought that one got like dropped on his head or whatever. And dude, it's just how it's the reaction of the leadership though. It's so interesting when you come in with firm rules. And if you guys haven't watched Super Nanny, or there's a couple other ones like similar ones to that. It's even if you don't have kids, it's worth watching because watch how they handle the kids the same way you handle your contractors. And those contractors are like big kids, by the way. They really are.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that show. I'm actually going to see if I can find it because I haven't watched it in a few years. I bet there's so many techniques we could be using on the contractors. When the contractors start giving us a bunch of drama, it'd be like, all right, go sit in the corner.
We met her out in L.A.
Oh, did you?
Yeah,
was
she's
there
really nice.
JoJo or what was?
I forgot. JoJo. There was a dude too, the Super Nanny dude.
Really?
Yeah.
Another season or something. But yeah, they start being like, no, I'm not getting done, and this is all your fault, and this is too hard. You're like, okay, contractor, I'd like you to take. We're gonna do a 30-second timeout, and you're gonna stay in the corner.
Give him the taser.
Then when he's like, I'm not doing it, you be like, I'm gonna count to 3. 1, 2. You just start hitting him with the moves, man.
I like it.
It's actually just like, so the way we would do it is just like, look, we're going to let you go, or we're not going to pay you, or it's just, this is the way it's going to be. And they'll throw temper tantrums. But most of the time, what I found with them is I've had people throw temper tantrums that have went like days long, but I don't give in. And next thing you know, they get reasonable. Like, I'm going to sue you. I'm going to put a lien on your house. I'm going to do this. And I'm like, okay, got it. You didn't finish. I'm going to pay you for what you did. If you'd like to come finish, you're more than welcome. But if you know you're going to continue doing what you're doing, that's not that I'm getting someone new. And it's that simple. And I know that the temper tantrum, then days later they fizzle out. They're like, hey, can you pay me at least half of it? Like, yeah, man, here's what I can pay you. And then they're like, okay. But they, they just need to fizzle out, right? They got to fizzle out. And I'm always like, and I treat them just like you would be raising a kid, right? I just don't take crap from them because I know that it is just like these guys might be 40, 50 years old, but think they're probably emotionally like 15.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I don't know. It's been my experience. I haven't found a lot of people with like, high level of wisdom and intelligence. And if you do, then great. That's fantastic. But it's interesting though, when you set the right tone, you can make people better. And that's it. So you're taking people. It's like we could work with the same person and get a different outcome. That's something to think about. Like me and anyone in this call could both work with the exact same person and have a very different outcome based on
We're hearing you. We're hearing you.
Yeah.
The ones that are very intelligent or seem to be very intelligent are the worst ones because they're the ones that are deliberately plotting to take your money without doing work.
So they're evil. I mean, those people are like intelligent in a negative way. Yeah, they're not like intelligent around doing work. You're right. They'll use more like conniving tricks to rip you off. Like that same energy, they could have just did the work and got rich and had a great business. They're just, that's the way they are. They're schemers. They prefer to scheme versus just like, all they have to do is scheme on how they get that work done on time and get, make a lot of money every week. But that for them is too hard. So that's just people that are stupid. That is actually the form, they act intelligent and they're very schemy, but like you're not smart when you do that. That's really dumb, by the way. I've seen people kill relationships with me over some dumb stuff. And I'm like, dude, we've made so much money together. And then my first mentor, he ripped me and my partner off for $1,200 just randomly and decided like with no calls, no effect, just said, you know what, I'm just taking it. And like, I think this other guy deserves it. And we're like, look, we have a contract. We get $88,000 commission. We get 35% of that. Why are you taking $1,200 out? Well, this other guy showed up to your auction. I feel like you should pay him $1,200. And I'm like, he wasn't the ringer. We brung 3 ringers. We only need to bring 1. So we rang our own auction. You brung that guy. He's like your assistant. You brung him there, so you pay him. Like, why would we pay him? We never agreed to pay him. And he's like, yeah, that's my final decision. And like, so you're going to take $1,200 of our money? And that was the worst mistake he ever made because we quit immediately after that happened. And we went on to take him, like, he's still in the business, but we stole millions and millions of dollars in deals from him because we knew all his marketing. So we just went literally, and we were like butthurt marketing to take him down. I mean, we would spend 10, 20 grand a month in marketing and all the same places as him. And they'd be like, yeah, I talked to Charlie Parrish too. Cool. What did he offer you? Oh, he said he'd give you 220. All right. Well, what do you need for us to get this done right now? Well, I guess 225. We'd like, I don't even know if we're going to make money. I was like, we just win the deal. So he couldn't win it. And then he would call and say, that's it. It's over now. I'm suing you. You done it now. And you're like, you want another deal? You want? He told 35 times he called us and said he was suing us because we took deals from him. We've taken hundreds of deals from him over the years because of $1,200 he didn't pay us. So yeah, that's foolish of him. And this is a guy who you would say is intelligent if you've ever met him. He's the guy who taught me a lot of great things, but was he really truly intelligent when he couldn't keep one person around? He'd just steal money from people for no reason. And my partner was Italian, so he totally wasn't going for that. And I kind of ain't going for it either. I don't like, how do you ever recover from somebody just taking money from you and not giving you any valid reason? Just doing it because he could. Yeah. It was like a power move. Like, I can do it. That's why I'm doing it. We made that guy 200 grand over a 5-month period. Like, legitimately net $200,000 in his pocket in auction commissions.
But you can never trust him again.
No, so we left him. We started a company, and I'm glad we did it because we had never made it anywhere with him. But, so I'm glad it all worked out for the best. But the point I'm making is, yeah, people who do that aren't smart. Smart people are smart enough to say, oh, okay. They can't think past the move in front of them. You steal from someone, then, like you're living with like, future, what are you doing to someone? Are they going to ever work with you again? So contractors, you should never do that to your contractor, by the way. I always lean on the side of like, if I'm in between something, I always lean towards just go ahead and paying the contractor. If I'm not sure, I just go ahead and pay them because that's the way I think it should be. I don't want them ever feeling like I took advantage of them. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, if they're actually not taking advantage of them, I'm pretty stern on that too, because I don't want to feel taken advantage of either. I'm equally as important, right? I don't want to. We both have to feel like we're in a good relationship. So
Mhm.
cool. That was contractor stuff. I don't know if Nikki or Alec, if you guys have any questions before everybody jumps on.
Right now, no. Yeah.
Cool. Awesome, man. Well, that's it then. I guess Jeff's on. Hey, what's up, Jeff? So we just got done talking about contractor stuff. So really talking about how to work with them, and I think Brian's on and everyone. Any other questions from, how about Jim, Nancy, Paul? Paul, what did you end up deciding, Paul? Did you talk with your person about the bedrooms and bathrooms?
Yeah, so I went to the city today to talk with them, and I had to also talk with the zoning and planning guys. So interesting.
You know, the Gold Creek.
Where we were thinking of converting
HOA.
that garage into a bedroom, I think it probably will not work because the homeowners are not allowed to park in front of the house. If you had a driveway going beside the house and going to the back, you could do that. But if we got rid of the garage, they said then I'd have to get rid of the driveway and they'd only be able to park on the street. Which,
You'd have you can't even park like out in front of it, like 10 feet in front of it, nothing?
On the street. So the reason why the driveway is there so that they could actually get into the garage. And there isn't enough.
That makes no sense though, because every driveway is parking in front of people. No, or is it? Maybe you're right. Maybe it is always on the side.
Yeah.
Now you got me thinking.
Yeah. So.
Okay. All right.
So,
is there another place you could put a bedroom down there?
Yeah. So I'm reconfiguring. I'm going to send you a drawing of another option I have just based on the measurements that are there. But that bedroom may be a little small, so I'm thinking, okay, do I just do it?
You don't need a big family room, so you'd probably be better off. Like you have a family room upstairs, you'd be better off just filling a bedroom and a bathroom down there if that's all you could do.
Yeah.
Because we got to get that third bedroom in if we can get that in. And then was there a place where you get the third bedroom where, and egress, by the way, could be the garage.
Really?
Pretty sure. Yeah, any door. So we've had egress before where we had no windows, but we had a door outside. That's egress. I mean, it's actually better egress than trying to climb through a window.
That would work.
Could. I mean, maybe.
If I could do that, that would work.
Okay. I think it is.
Yeah.
I never thought about the driveway in front of it before because you're right, and you can't put it on the side. That makes sense, actually. Okay. Well, egress, then do you have anywhere, if let's say the whole door thing didn't work, is there a way you can just cut a hole in the foundation, just put a window in?
I could. I'm putting that deck on the back, which kind of limits the space a little bit. But I do have 7 feet from the edge of the deck to the end of the house. So
maybe
if I need to cut a 4 foot opening, I could do that, right? And
yeah, I don't think it's 4 feet, by the
well
way. I think the whole thing no more than like 3 by 3 or something. It's not super big.
Right.
So it's probably 2.5 by 3 even. Something in that area. It wouldn't be super big. You could probably either squeeze it there or so. Yes, if you want to send, I don't know if you have the drawings handy and you can email them to me. We'll pull them up and look at them. But yes, this is part of hacking the layout. You can't do one thing. Okay, let's find another thing. So what we're trying to do with Paul, so everybody in the group knows what's going on. Paul had originally was thinking he was going to do a 2-1 on the first floor, and then he had like an unfinished basement at this house. But he's actually got like a split level house with a garage, and it has room to finish the basement and potentially throw somewhere. And we're trying to figure out where to put another bedroom down there, because if we can get him from 2-1 to a 3-2, we started seeing the comps go from 150 to like 180 to 220 even. So like a lot more. And I mean, definitely high 100s, maybe even low 200s, right? I mean, it just really opens the door up for him. Where at 2-1, I just, we've seen some random comps sell for like 150, 155, but really not all that much and very small buyer's pool. So getting up to like a 3-2 and being creative about doing it could really, really open a door up for him to make his value a lot higher. So basically what I kind of told him in the last day or two, and we talked, was just like, do whatever it takes, right? It is like whatever it takes to get that 3-2 in, because I'm telling you right now, you're going to be shopping to the big market, not the small market. And they won't care, because like most of the time they're not even using the third bedroom. Like, see, most of the time they're just telling their agent, like, just show me 3 bedrooms. I don't want to see 2. Not because they really need 3. They just, a lot of people have perception of like 2s don't sell well. They want to know if they need an extra room for a friend, or, if they expand in the future, there's some options, or if they want a little room to do their, some kind of workout in or whatever, they got the stuff they need. So yeah, if you can send me the drawing, then I'll look at it and see if we can hack it and see if we can get it right, and then maybe we can go from there. Because or maybe we just see how small is the bedroom, because minimum bedroom size is 80 feet. So I believe it's like 88 feet or 80 feet. So around like a 9x10 usually, or 8x10. Is that true? Anybody else know that number? Or does that sound right? Might be different in every county too, though. Cool. Sorry. Well, he'll send it in a second, I think, if he can. Who else has some questions I can help with?
I have a question. I have several questions.
Oh, hey, Wade.
Hey, how are you?
Good.
I just wondering, so when you do flipping, how do you use the insurance? You buy the construction insurance or just the regular liability insurance?
It's called builder's risk insurance.
Yeah, the builder risk insurance, they require the contractor is an insured contractor, and they want to say the like the contractor also. So how did you get the insurance?
Get another builder's risk insurance, because mine doesn't require that. And no, I don't think that Ray's. I don't know if Ray's still in the call or not, but if he is, he'll tell you. But his doesn't require that either, I'm sure. I think he uses Next Insurance too, by the way. So it's like an online insurance company. It's called Next Insurance, and they're definitely not requiring that.
Okay.
Some insurance companies require a bunch of crazy stuff, and others are like, whatever. I mean, you just need a policy that's going to cover you. I can tell you this, you definitely want to have builder's risk, but at the same time, in my history of doing this, I've never actually had a builder's risk claim. And so builder's risk really is not going to be if somebody like breaks something or does whatever. It's really going to be just if the house burns down, right? You just want to like and honestly, houses never burn down when they're vacant and they're being worked on. They burn down when people are in them. People make houses burn down, like doing stupid stuff, but they're not really using it as much. So I've never had a flip burn down. I have had rentals get beat up. And so rental, like getting like your insurance for a rental seems to be pretty smart play, because I've actually had multiple times I've gotten a bunch of money when people have destroyed my rentals. But from a flip standpoint, we're already in there working anyhow. So if something gets broke, it's like, you got big deductibles. You're really just insuring against like the whole building burning down kind of thing. So Next Insurance, just get the insurance company as cheapest and easiest. Don't over insure, because all you're really protecting against is like against, catastrophe. You're not really going to ever call them if someone, like people come in and steal my appliances. I'm not calling them. Generally, there's like a deductible that's much higher than that.
They say that they also cover like the people who get injured on the site. I don't know if that's necessary.
For builder's risk, I mean, no, what you're doing. So the insurance company you're using sounds to me like they're really good at optimizing insurance. They're probably smart and they make a lot of money because they're telling people they need all this extra stuff. You just need to get with someone that doesn't do that. So go to like Next Insurance or one online and get something like that. And
how much do you pay?
How much do I pay? It's every house I buy it for. I have to buy it for every house. So part of like my lender makes me buy a year's worth of insurance, and it's different for every house. So the higher the house, the more expensive it'll be. So like your house that you're buying now, it could be $2,500 for a year. I mean, it could be it could be a little more. You're only going to have the house hopefully 6 months, so it's half of that. But if you do the Next Insurance and you don't have a lender, then you can easily just, like if you went and got a hard money loan, they would require you had builder's risk insurance. Because they want to make sure that you're insured in case anything happens and it protects their money. With that being said, just find an insurance company that doesn't do that, one that's investor friendly. And anybody that's investor friendly is not going to be like, you need workman's comp and all that, because no investor would want to use them. Investors should be like, no, I'm okay. I'm going with this other company.
And I use a place called NREIG.
Is that online?
Yeah, it's online, all online, really pretty reasonable. I mean, usually
NERI.
No,
Okay, sorry.
no, NREIG.
Okay, yeah, try that. That's a good recommendation.
Alex?
Yep.
NREIG.
Yep. NREIG.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much.
And I believe Ray's using Next Insurance, I believe, but I'll ask them. I'm gonna text them while we're on, because it'd be a good recommendation recommendation for everyone else. And anyone who's local, we use Moran Insurance. They're pretty awesome. We like them because they're just simple, but I haven't messed with any of the online stuff right now. I should test them against that. Locally, no one was beating them, but online could probably beat them because they don't have office space. They're probably cheaper.
Yeah, I'm usually, at my price point, I'm usually right around $100 a month.
Oh, that's
okay. That's really good.
Yeah.
And they don't make you do any of that stuff, right? Like they're just like get you insurance.
No.
It's kind of you just pay for it kind of thing.
Yeah. It's actually a recommendation from Lending Tree or Home, whatever.
Lending Home, okay.
I've used those guys also, Mike, for insurance.
The NREIG. Okay, cool. I mean, I'm probably going to check them out now. I might be able to save some money. It's the whole reason I coach, because sometimes I get coached and like that sounds like a pretty good deal. I mean, that's like, because I don't know what we're paying now, but I'm going to find out. I know it was cheap. I haven't shopped it in like 2 years. But locally, it was the best deal. But with all these online places, I'm sure somebody has to be able to kind of beat you because it's easier. They're cheap. Cost of doing business is cheaper.
Yeah.
I mean, writing. I'm going to also get raised person just so we have two people to compare against. And I'm pretty sure it's next, but okay, cool. I'm going to check them out then, because that's actually sounds really cheap. Because a lot of your purchases, you usually are insuring about 300,000, right?
Usually, I'm going in about 275 to 300. So that's usually what they're going to be insuring. So and it's always been one deal was less than 100 a month, but 110 a month somewhere in there. So
okay, perfect. I was
pretty happy with them. Yeah.
That sounds like a great place to start. I'll give you guys the update after I check into it of like how it compares to like local stuff. But I have a feeling it was probably cheaper because it's online. It just makes sense it would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Let's see. Samira, did you